Acon offers several different styles of lift table skirts, so we're going to briefly touch on the different materials, and then we'll finish up with what information we need to make sure your lift table skirt fits properly. So a lift table skirt, to define exactly what it is, it's this material here that covers up the dangerous scissor arms which are located inside of a scissor lift table. These scissor arms are shear points, so they have to be guarded because people can get their foot in here, or they can get their hand in these areas, and of course that's going to present a safety hazard for the workers. So what OSHA has said is you need to guard pinch points from devices or machines that are located in your facility to provide a protection for your workers who are working for you. So that's where the lift table skirt comes into play, and that's how it's used. It's essentially a bellows, so it looks like this, and you have an inner dimension, and then you have an outer dimension, which we'll talk about later. But the lift table skirts just connect around the frame of the lift table, and then they just go down, and they just drag, or they just rest on the floor. Some people choose to connect them to the base. Usually the top size is larger, so you would just attach here, and then you might have a large top platform like this. So you have a smaller skirt even though you have a larger top platform which has dunnage on it. So the materials which are used, the most common, I would say probably about 95% of all skirts sold are a stitch skirt. So you can see here there's vinyl flaps and they're stitched together. We take great pride in giving a very clean looking stitch. And the material is an 18-ounce vinyl. I'm sorry, it's a 22-ounce vinyl. And it's industrial grade. It's rated for up to 160 degrees Fahrenheit. You can do moderate welding around this material. It's fire retardant. And this is what it looks like when it's installed on a lift table. So they look very clean. They can be just about any size. Another material, which is also fairly common, is the heat bonded thermic material. So this has more of a crisp look, and we sell this to Xerox is one company that purchases this from us, and other facilities who need a very clean looking skirt. So this is actually reinforced with a PVC rib. So you can see here these run every other fold, and that's actually what's providing the structure to this skirt. So where it gets the heat bonded description from is it's heat bonded to that rib, the full length. So this full length here is actually bonded right to that PVC rib structure. So it's a very strong skirt. It's great for real small folds. So if you need a 1-inch fold, we can actually use a very small rib, and this has a very clean, crisp look to it. And like I said, it's a more expensive skirt than the stitched, but sometimes the aesthetics are what people are after for that particular model. And then we have medical grade skirts. These are used around a wire frame. So you can see here that's a stainless steel wire rib, and the material is actually pulled over it, and this has approximately a 1.5-inch fold. So the ID is the inner part and the OD is the outer part, so it's 1.5 inches greater than the ID. And this material, it meets a lot of high specifications as far as flame retardant, washdown applications where food processing is concerned. So this is a very nice skirt, but definitely the most expensive one we sell. So we only use this when it's absolutely necessary based on the application. So as far as measuring, this is our actual RFQ form right from our website, so we'll just walk you through this. The information that is critical is your top platform size, so ED, and then also the raised height, C. So if you can give us ED and C, so E, D, and C, that's basically the information we need. If you have A, G, and F, that's helpful as well. But if you give us these three, and then of course the quantity, we're good to go to provide you a quote for the most part. Now fold depth is the depth of the fold. So remember we talked about ID and OD. An external fold is the safest, most common, and a 3-inch fold is the most economical and the most common. So here you can see the fold is facing away from the lift table, where the internal fold, which we'll talk about in a second, is facing inwards. The smaller the fold, the more expensive it is, and also the higher the stack up of the skirt because there's more material. And the 1.5 and the 2-inch are more economical than the 1-inch, and the 3-inch is the least expensive. So if in doubt and you don't have any space constraints, just choose the 3-inch. The fold location, as I touched on above, it's either facing inward or it's facing outward. The outward is the most common because you don't have to worry about the fold coming in here and hitting the scissor arms, or maybe there's a motor, or sometimes there's stuff inside of your lift table that you need to be aware of as far as how far that skirt fold can face inward. You don't want it dragging on anything or rubbing on anything, so you want complete clearance for that to go up and down. So again, if you're in doubt, just choose the external fold unless you have some specifics of your application which won't allow for it. The top attachment, most common, is the steel flat bar, both top and bottom. Even if you're not attaching it at the bottom, it's a good idea to get it because this steel flat bar has some weight to it. And when you first get your skirt, specifically the stitched ones, they're new and they're a little stiff, and this keeps it sitting on the floor. Velcro is generally only used if you're going to be attaching it, just so it holds it in place so you can fasten it with a Tek screw like we show here. The Velcro eventually dry rots and it falls off. It's just not a good long-term solution. But some of the maintenance people say, give me the Velcro because it holds it there while I fasten it to the skirt or to the edge of the lift table. So at the top of the skirt, when you choose flat steel bar, there's going to be a pocket of material, and then you're going to have your, I came down too far, you're going to have your bellows, and at the bottom there will also be a pocket, and this flat steel bar goes in these pockets, the top and bottom, and then you just take your Tek screw and you attach it to the side of the lift table. And as I mentioned, you don't have to attach the bottom. Some people just let it sit down here and it just gives it weight. So material, we touched on that earlier, and we have little dollar signs here to help you choose based on what you're trying to accomplish. So if we go down a little farther, we have our colors and features. Black and yellow, by far the most common. Then you have all yellow, all black. And we have blue and we have other colors. Those are more expensive. These three here are the same cost. And anything besides that will run a premium of about 20%. Stiffening wires. It became an industry standard a while ago to put stiffening wires inside of the skirts. We generally try to stay away from them unless it's a really big skirt, because then it gives it structure for the stitch versions. Because what happens is the wire tends to pop out of the skirt. So here you have a fold, and say this is the corner, and then people come by and that's a foot, and then people trip on the wires or they catch their pants. Eventually they just like to pop out because it's a piece of steel inside of a piece of fabric. So we try to stay away from them, and also they're more expensive to put in. Separator Velcro. If you have a lift table, let's say it has a very large top platform on it like this, and then here's your actual lift table. When you get your skirt, you're going to install this from the top down. So if you have this large platform, you're not going to be able to do that. So what the separator Velcro will do is you'll get a skirt and it'll have a split. So you can actually wrap this around coming in from the side. So you just wrap it like this and then Velcro it together once you wrap it around. So that is the reason why you want a separator Velcro. If you don't have an oversized top platform, definitely not needed, and it costs more money, so I would just stick away from it. Pit mounted lifts. This is very important. If you do have a lift that's in the ground, so when your lift table comes down, it's flush with the floor, those typically have an angled steel toe guard on them. So if you have this configuration, just check the yes button, and then we'll know how to properly configure it. And give us dimensions from the top platform, or you can give us dimensions from the bottom of this toe guard. Either way, if you could put in here dimensions are from top or dimensions are from bottom of toe guard. It helps us properly configure it. And with this particular style, you need to make sure you're going to have enough clearance from your lift table. So if you choose a 3-inch fold, you need to have at least 3.5 inches between the pit wall and the lift table to make sure there's enough room for that fold, because you don't want it to bind on the side of the pit wall. If you're unclear about this, just email us, and we have a very specific form we can email you to try to make sure that you're not going to have any interferences. And then, of course, your contact information. It usually takes us about 10 minutes to get a quote to you, and then they're very detailed. And once you get it, if you have questions, you can, of course, ask us. So hopefully this video was helpful. If you have any further questions, just drop us an email or call us, and one of our associates can walk you through the process.